Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of Snaps, where throughout the week we are live on AMP, and then everything is uploaded to Apple, Spotify, and podcast form. And you can always subscribe to us, youtube.com/@volume snaps. We are hurtling towards 5,000 subscribers, y'all. We need 150 more of y'all. If you're listening now and you haven't yet, do it for your boys here. Please. Whether you like, you know what? Do it if you think we're kind of funny and enjoyable. Do it if you think I'm a dumbass piece of shit. I don't care. Just do it like Nike, but for snaps. YouTube.com/@volume snaps. We'll start with our opening comment today, Robash. And I'm guessing this in, I'm not guessing, this is in response to our Alabama conversation about quarterback and the mismanagement therein. Been kicking that horse for months. Hartman, Leary, or any competent warm body would have been an upgrade. So the state of the Alabama quarterback situation in the fans' minds about equal to what we were talking about yesterday. This is Snaps of T-Bob Hebert. He is Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up?
What's up? Hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Excited to get into some of these games. Yep. No ranked on rank this weekend, but we'll see if we can find a upset somewhere here in this somewhat dull third week of the season.
It's the literal most dog shit lineup of games that I've ever seen since doing this job on a single weekend. That said, I love the board. I think I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 bets that are already in that I feel great about. I think I'm gonna have a perfect 9-0 week. Nice. I may do a giant parlay just so I can get rich and then not have to work with you anymore. I'm just kidding. I love doing this show. Shout out DraftKings. All right, let's get into the slate. So, sorry, if you don't normally join us in season on Thursday, we do go through the biggest games of the week, break them down, what we think, who's going to win. And this week it's LSU at Mississippi, and this is going to give you an idea of what kind of week it is. Even though this sounds not awful on the surface. Yeah. LSU at Mississippi State, South Carolina at Georgia, Washington at Michigan State, Tennessee at Florida, and Colorado at Colorado State, which, again, devoid of context, sounds like a fine lineup until you see LSU's essentially a double-digit favorite. UGA's favored by like, what, 24? 27.5. Washington's favored by 16. Tennessee, Florida's close, 6.5.
Yep.
And then Colorado State, 23.5. That number is probably going to even go up after what Norvell had to say. But we'll get there. Let's start with the one that's going to be the 11 a.m. slate. You can catch me at a local cigar bar, burning heaters and drinking straight mezcal at 11 a.m. as I get ready to do a little post game for LSU, Mississippi State in Starkville. Aaron, I've talked about this game on my show all week, and so I'm very intrigued to get your read on it. What do you think happens here?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous for Mississippi State, and I'll start first with the defense. You know, you watch the tape for Mississippi State, and yeah, they got some turnovers last week versus Arizona. A lot of them were self-induced by their quarterback, but they can't get after the quarterback. And something that I'm excited about LSU this season is how good their offensive line is. I mean, it's a really talented offensive line, and you have one of the most talented, deepest receiving cores in America. And I still like Jay Daniels. I know a lot of people are kind of down on quarterbacks in the SEC, but he's still a gifted runner that has improved as a passer. But the thing that gives me more excitement if I'm an LSU fan this weekend is the running back position. You look at the difference between week 1 and week 2, and yes, the opponent is vastly different. I get that. But even talking to the coaching staff last week,
I mean, it is about as different as you could have gotten. To be painfully clear, going from Florida State to Grambling.
You can also see the difference in the running backs, just the way they move. And that's something that the coaching staff kept telling me last week is we have guys now, and Logan Diggs and Caleb Jackson and
John Emery's actually back this week.
John Emery's back as well. But those first two, they just kept saying, like, we finally have running backs that are explosive in the backfield. We don't just got a bunch of, like, big old guys that are kind of just, 2-3 yards and kind of go down. We have guys that can hit the hole and complement what Jaden can do and take the pressure off Jaden Daniels having to be Superman doing everything. And that's something that we've said for the entire offseason. We need running backs at LSU. And right now they feel like they have 3 really good ones. that are healthy and ready to go in this football game. So that to me is going to give Mississippi State issues on defense. Not only do you have to defend against the pass, you have a great running quarterback along with now 3 running backs you can rotate in there that can create explosive plays.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you don't even really have to get past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
When LSU is on offense, there is not another D-line on their schedule, save for Alabama, that will even test that offensive line.
Nope.
They're great, man. And with the emergence of true freshman Lance Hurd, they may get even better because they have a straight giant at right tackle. So offensively, I think LSU is going to control the line. I think everything's going to work because of that. Look, here's the deal. Zach Arnett's a great defensive coach. He runs a very shifty sort of weird 3-3-5 system that maybe they can confuse Jaden and the offense here or there. But it's just hard to think that guys that couldn't rush the passer against Arizona, who does not have an impressive offensive line, are somehow going to do so against Florida State. That's been the thing to me, too, really diving into this film. It just reinforces how much talent was on that field between LSU and Florida State because they don't look like normal college teams. Mississippi State looks more like a normal college team, like 44 for Mississippi State. Great player. SEC Player of the Week. Why am I blanking on his name right now? But he's kind of representative of the team as a whole in that, like, he's not the most athletic. He's not just going to overpower you through raw physical talent. What he is going to do, though, he's well coached. He's going to be in the right spot. Like Mississippi State's defense will do that. It's just that I think LSU's offense is actually kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Like they had a really great game against Florida State, save for 2 drop possessions in the third quarter. It was the defense that crumbled, right? They scored all 10 possessions against Grambling last week. Like,
it's a great offense. I
can quibble about some of the philosophy I would like to see change. I would literally never keep it back in for pass protection, but that's a different story. I can quibble, but offensively, LSU is going to be great. Did you have anything to add on the offense before we flip the ball?
And you talk about Arnett and the defense. Well, the defense didn't change from last year. And let's just go to last year's game. Jaden Daniels, 22 of 37, 210 yards, a touchdown. Offensively, they rushed for 207 yards, put up 31 points. So, like, that's last year's LSU offense and
that's a lesser offense than what you're bringing to
bear. That's a lesser
year.
offense with 2 freshman tackles that are now sophomores heading into the season with more depth at receiver, with more depth at running back, and a quarterback that's now in his second year in the system.
Exactly.
I think they're going to score. I think they're going to score a lot of points.
So the big worry for LSU and who didn't look good this year against Florida State was the defense, right?
Yep.
Well, again, I am flummoxed by what Zach Arnett is trying to do with this Mississippi State offense. So what's interesting, Aaron, you gave me a quizzical look there, like you don't know what flummox means.
I've never heard the word flummox.
So that's exactly what it does mean. Kind of confusing. Doesn't make sense. I can't make heads or tails of it. Why did Zach Arnett take a Mississippi State team that was built for the air raid and say, fuck it, I want to run a Les Miles level rushing attack? Like, not even, and I had some people take this the wrong way, where earlier in the week I said, like, when I heard that State was running the ball more, I thought it was like, you know, how Ole Miss runs the ball or Tennessee run the ball. And some of the people took that to mean me saying those schools are ineffective. No, they're great at running the ball. Ole Miss leads the SEC in rushing. It's just that they do it out of a true spread, where they're pushing everybody out the box. They run against light boxes, and they're threatening through the air so that you can't just defend the run. Mississippi State's not doing that. I mean, they're daring people to load up the box. They're running classic stretch, lead, zones, counters. The passing game does not feel dangerous at all. They've made Will Rogers look like the 9th best quarterback in the conference, like Aaron Murray tried to tell you before the season started. Zach Arnett, apparently big fan of the show, really likes Aaron, wanted him to be correct. Like, I don't get it, because they have shifted to a style of offense that, instead of masking deficiencies, becomes super talent dependent. Like, if your guys up front aren't better, you're just not going to win. And for all the problems that LSU has had thus far, I'll still bet on Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Savion Jones, and the rest of this defense winning that battle. So I would feel very frustrated as a Mississippi State fan what they've done offensively.
And I think Mississippi State's going to look at last week's game and say, "Wow, look at that HBCU who ran all over LSU and took advantage, especially early in the first half, and think they can do the same thing." I think Harold Perkins is going to continue to find his way in this defense.
He's gonna have a big game.
I do believe Mason Smith, he was on a pitch count. Like he's working his way back into full game shape right now. They wanted him about 30 plays last week. I don't know exactly the number he played, but they're expecting to I don't want to say double that this week, but get closer to that 50 play mark versus Mississippi State. So you're going to get him in there. You get the rust knocked off. Let's not forget that was the first time Mason Smith, a potential top 10 NFL draft pick, first time he's played since 2021. He didn't play all last year.
So he didn't play all last year.
He started versus FSU, but was out in the first drive.
Yeah, and then before that, at the end of his freshman year, he missed the last 4 games due to injury, played in the bowl, and then got hurt. So it's been it was a long and you could see it. He was really bad at the beginning last week, and he got better and better as the game went on.
Yeah, so I don't think this offense is good enough to think that they can methodically move the ball down the field. Yeah, just they're going to eat them up, man. This is what 9.5 points.
No, I love LSU minus 9.5.
The only thing that's going to save Mississippi State is the fact that it's an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Mm-hmm. In Starkville,
early cowbells on the road.
And Woody's a good running back, a very good running back.
Woody's a good running back,
but I
think you have an LSU team whose back is against the wall because they already lost one game.
Yeah.
Who knows they can't just sleepwalk the rest of the season. Like there is a sense of urgency of like, we can't lose a game. If we are as good as we think we are, which I still believe LSU is the team to be in the SEC West. If we want any chance to make it to the playoffs, we have to win these games. We have to win them pretty big. We have to rebuild our brand. And I think they're good enough to do it.
So we're in agreement then. I like LSU to cover. I'd put in my best bets, but I don't want to be accused of being a homer. Even though all the LSU fans are like, T-Bob just jinxed us. Rawr. All right, let's go to your team that you're very clearly a homer for, Aaron Murray, and that are your Georgia Bulldogs, South Carolina at UGA. But this is the game Aaron's been propping up. We're going to learn something about this Georgia team.
You will.
This game in which they're favored by 26.5? Yes, this is the game. Yes, this is the game that's going to test this Georgia Bulldog team.
Like it's been for the first 2 weeks of the season. So like we are trending in the right direction right now. Before they play another scrub next week where it'll be back up to like the 40 points per game.
It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. So South Carolina, Georgia. Here's what I wanted to pick your brain on, Aaron. I can't get the image of Spencer Rattler running for his life against North Carolina out of my head. And so take us into the quarterback mindset. I know you're supposed to be alpha. You're supposed to be brave. Does any fear creep in when you go to bed on Friday night and you have about 7 NFL first rounders that are coming to break your fucking ribs all day Saturday, and there's nothing you can do about it?
At 3:30 primetime CBS game, and I know a lot of people like the dog Athens, Georgia, for being quiet, but Kirby found a way because I think he found one of the defensive players for South Carolina who didn't have Sanford Stadium in his top 5 for atmospheres in the SEC.
Well,
and he pretty much he told the SEC or told the Georgia fans like, you better bring it. It's going to be loud. It's going to have a lot of energy. And you have a South Carolina team right now, which I just saw the stat about 20, 30 minutes ago, 1.5 yards per carry through 2 games.
That's going to help.
1.5 yards.
That's great.
It's not good. That's not good. This is an offensive line that is probably the worst offensive line in SEC. They're averaging 58 yards per rushing per game. The next SEC team is like 115 yards per game rushing.
Is this akin to a public execution?
It's
like is this like the teeming frothing masses showing up to watch Spencer Rattler just be like splayed and quartered for our enjoyment?
And Kirby absolutely disdains Shane Beamer. So like there's going to be no.
Wait, why? What's the story there?
I just don't. I think he just doesn't like him. Just doesn't like him. He just every game they play, like there's no mercy. It is we're going to continue to dominate. We're not going to call off the dogs, and we're going to make you regret your life essentially. So I think Georgia rolls. I think Georgia rolls in a big way. I think this is when I say first true test. I think this is the first time we really get to see what this offense can look like. Dejon Edwards is supposed to be back for Georgia. Hopefully he gives them some more ammunition from the running back position. I don't know if Ladd McConkey is going to play or not in this game. I don't think they're going to need him to, but I think if he does play, it's a huge plus. But I think Georgia fans just want to see, can Carson Beck continue to progress? And can this offense truly be one of the better offenses in this league? So, like,
That's
is this a
anybody's
major
watching.
challenge? No,
Is
it's
Mike
not.
Bobo. Yeah.
But it's still an opportunity to show you can play really, really good football against another SEC opponent.
We should give Spencer Rattler some credit here, because I think Saturday is going to be brutal for him. But with that horrible offensive line, he's actually playing kind of incredible right now. He's completed 83% of his passes. 83. He's averaging 350 yards a game, 10.6 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, no picks. So pretty damn good. But unfortunately, this weekend, just nothing's really coming up, Spence. Were you ever scared of an opponent like the night before? Like, be honest. Like, if you were really on, like, do you remember who it was?
Like we played South Carolina and Jadeveon, and I was like, damn. like, oh, I don't feel too good about this one. Like,
did he ever get you? We know that Nick Fairley almost killed you, but did he ever get you, Jadeveon?
Who, Jadeveon? Yeah, he swung me around like a rag doll like twice. Like, there's no worse feeling than a defender grabbing your jersey and swinging you around, and you feeling like a helpless, like what I do to my son when my son pisses me off and I like grab him by like the arm or something like that to pick him up. Like, what are you doing? And, like, that's what I felt like, but I'm like not a 3-year-old.
Was that borderline abuse? You said you just take your son by the arm and you swing him around the home?
I don't swing him. I didn't say swing. It was merely picking him up just to make sure.
No, I know what you're talking about. Just a little
stays
firm
away
grab.
from his little sister. Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing, dude? Chill out.
Yeah,
You can't do that to your
but
sister.
Jadeveon did that to me and then swung me, which was made me not feel like a man at all.
No, that was abuse. Yeah, that's like that is like very demeaning, right?
Yeah.
When that's like when me being a little chubby, short-armed guy trying to play line, like when Nick Fairley would like lock me all the way out and my arms would just be in space, just kind of like flopping around in front of me, can't gain any purchase on anything. Makes you feel like a child. All right, so I would say this, because let's touch the gambling angle on each game. I'm not going to play this game. I would not take Georgia to cover, though. But you think he hates Beamer, would you? I just feel like Kirby's kind of a call the dogs off guy.
I don't think he's going to call the dogs off in this game.
Okay.
Plus, I think this football team needs to play 4 quarters of football. Like, they have not, the starters have not played 3 quarters yet, I don't believe. So, like, at some point you got to start getting into game shape, and this is your first chance to, get into somewhat game shape, play 4 quarters, know what it's like to play 60 minutes. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to call. I mean, I think he may put the backups in like midway through the 4th quarter, but he's going to let them eat.
Okay, so you would play Georgia minus 27.5.
I would play Georgia minus 27.5.
There you go.
And I have another bet. I have another bet for this game that will be on our show tomorrow.
Oh man, everything just tastes a little sweeter. The air smells a little better. Energy's a little greater, and it's all because football is back and in full swing with another week of epic games. And can you guess who's got you covered on all the action for every single one of those games? That's right. You already know, the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Okay. An official betting partner of the NFL. And once again, right now, new customers can bet just $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. If you're signing up for the DraftKings the first time, promo code TBOB, you bet $5 on football, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Are you kidding me, guys? But it's not just the new customers, okay? Nobody misses out with DraftKings. In fact, all DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Just get on the app and check them out. So get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the app now using the promo code TBOB, TBOB, to sign up, and you can take advantage of that incredible new customer deal, bet $5 and take home $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBOB, TBOB. The crown is yours. Okay, next up on this list, we got a little Washington in East Lansing taking on Michigan State. The Huskies favored by 16 here. Perfect opportunity for Washington to build championship hype and to build Heisman hype. And what's funny, Aaron, Washington's kind of journey with Penix and DeBoer started in this game a year ago. If you remember, I want to say Michigan State was still like top 15 at the time. We thought they were good. They were coming off the big year. Washington might have even been like double-digit dogs, maybe even I want to say maybe like plus 14, and they come out and they handle Michigan State. They kind of announce themselves to the world, and then everything's been coming up Huskies ever since. I mean, what a difference a year can make. Washington was an afterthought at this time last year. Now they're a top 10 team, borderline Pac-12 contender, got a Heisman candidate quarterback, whereas Michigan State was top 15, great coach. Everything's going excellently. Now, a year later, Michigan State soon to be without a coach at all. The program's in shambles. It was an awful deal all the way around. So two programs moving in wildly different directions.
Yes. Let me just give you Michael Penix's his record or stats versus Michigan State. And this dates back to when he was at Indiana. His first go around, 33 or 42, 286, 3 touchdowns. Next year, 25 or 38, 322 touchdowns. And then last year, 24 or 40, 397 and 4 touchdowns. He plays really, really well versus Sparty. So I love what Michael Penix can do, especially with those receivers. And you look at Michigan State, who has benefited from a very easy schedule. Let's not forget, this was the second worst defense against the pass in the Big Ten last year, giving up about 280 yards per game. So I think the biggest thing is just the distractions, man. Like, you have a very focused Washington football team who has elite playmakers on the outside, who has one of the best quarterbacks in the country against a not so great defense and defensive backfield. He's had your number for the past 3 times he's played you, regardless of what team he's on. I think Washington's going to absolutely steamroll through Michigan State this weekend. I
didn't know the full Penix history with the Spartans there. I think I'll be placing yet another bet on this weekend.
Another one.
I mean, do we know anything about Michigan State this year? I mean, they lose Keon Coleman. No, but I mean, like, who's even their player? Like, they lose Keon Coleman. They lose Peyton Thorne. Sure, they played Central Michigan and Richmond, but, like, I just don't even.
We got a good running back in Nathan Carter, but other than that, it's kind of.
Are you at all worried about the interim bump? Because
the team uniting together.
Well, just like, because, like, look, Mel Tucker was very obviously, and this has nothing to do with him being psychotically horny. He was very obviously one of those kind of, motherfuck coaches. Like, he was kind of a dick, right? That was his whole thing. He's like going to get on you, get after your ass, which can work. I always responded well to it. But you kind of have to win for that to work. Like, if you want to be the asshole and you suck, then you just kind of look like a joke and players stop respecting you. And so I'm going to surmise, I'm projecting here. It's not hard for me to see a situation where these players hear that hand job news and they're like, good riddance, masturbatory news. Just phone sex. But like, I could just see a situation where the players like, good riddance. We hated that guy anyway. And that maybe there's a little galvanizing. Come on, we got to do it for each other this game. It's just that I think that in the end, the freaking bazooka arm.
Do you think that players like really have like that strong of feelings towards like their head coach one way or the other?
Maybe I'm just drawing from my own experience. I feel like
there's something like, I'm a student athlete. I'm here to play football. The coaches are such a authoritative figure in my life that I kind of just go with the flow. Like, I don't feel like I've never been part of a locker room, or I've ever heard of a locker room where like all the guys are meeting together in secret saying, "Oh, we fucking hate our coach. I hope he gets fired somehow." Like,
well, it doesn't have to be meeting in secret, but you never had a locker room where the guys hated the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you. Like, most of the time, the coaches, it's more of just like a boss relationship. Like, even the times when they think like, oh my God, you love him, don't you? You just love playing for him. Like, I mean, no, he's my boss kind of. But I don't know though, man. I was a part of LSU teams where we kind of talked a lot of shit about Les Miles. Like, it wasn't like you're saying like nefarious secret cabal meetings. Yeah, man. A lot of times we felt like we were winning in spite of him. Like, we were being put in bad positions.
I've never heard that before.
Well, that's good for you. That means you had a coach that you were very pleased with. Now, it wasn't anything crazy or drastic, but like, there were even times where like we'd hear rumors that maybe he's on the hot seat and we kind of be like, Okay, cool. Like who do you think? Like who next? um, so again, I think there is a potential galvanizing effect there, but I think the bazooka arm of Michael
Yeah.
Penix Jr. blows it up with a Dragon Ball Z Kamehameha of touchdowns. East Lansing's maybe a little tough, but it's not that late in the year, right? If this was a Washington going there when it's going to be like freezing and cold or whatever, then maybe that would be a problem. So you're taking Washington minus the 16?
Ooh. How did this all of a sudden turn into a betting show? Like, why are we making bets here? Damn you.
Because the slate is awful. And on a
God.
bad weekend, whenever, like you saying Georgia's going to win does nothing for me. You saying Washington win does nothing for me. Like, if anything, we need something to make it interesting.
I'm going to say this. So like, I'm not putting money on this line. I feel comfortable, but I would say I do think it's been a really shitty week for Michigan State. So yes, I would favor Washington and Michael Penix.
Yeah, just say I'm not playing it, but this is what I would do.
Okay.
Now this next one works. We don't have to play that game with because it's a pretty close spread and it's kind of interesting. And that's Tennessee Volunteers and the Florida Gators. It's going to be in the Swamp, a battle for SEC East dominance. Still fascinating to me just how quickly these fortunes changed. I mean, for a decade and a half, Florida's the big dog, and now all of a sudden we're just like, no, Tennessee's clearly better. Even though the spread's only 6 on this. So it kind of shows you, because the hive mind on Florida is that they're awful. And that, I mean, look at Utah. Look what Baylor did against Utah, and then look what Florida did against Utah. Everybody, even before the season, thought Florida was awful. So then you're like, well, I thought Tennessee was good. Why? It just shows you that the odds makers have been pretty unimpressed with what they've seen out of the Volunteers thus far this season, Aaron.
Yeah, it's hard to be impressed. I mean, Joe Milton, I thought he looked more mature in the first game versus Virginia. I thought he took a massive step back this past weekend. It's his first true road game for being the starting quarterback at Tennessee. And this is, I never played in Gainesville. I went to a lot of games there as a kid growing up.
It's crazy.
It is intimidating as hell. This is a big time rivalry game. Tennessee hasn't won there in what, like nine tries?
Yeah, it's something like since like the early 2000s, like almost 20 years
or something like
yes,
that.
I think it was 03. Now, I should say this too. The Swamp, you were talking about Sanford being a hard place to play again, which is not, but the Swamp at peak capacity at night, which I don't know if it will be that. Like, it doesn't always get like that anymore, like Death Valley. But if it does, then that's a very tough place to play. Very intimidating. Crowd's right. It's built vertically. The noise stays in. The crowd's right on top of you. They're talking shit the entire game. Like, hey, you fat fuck, learn how to walk. Why do you waddle? Like, all this other sort of stuff. That's like general things people throw out there, not at all directed at me.
These are the things that T-Bob wakes up at 3 a.m. in the morning screaming. His wife's like, calm down, T. Dude, I waddle. I love you, baby. You're okay.
I do waddle, but I'm okay with that. And I won my last trip.
7 o'clock, ESPN, rivalry game.
It better be packed. It better be. Yeah. So the point is, like you're saying, Joe Milton is stepping into a bit of a buzzsaw there. He's gonna have to prove.
And Tennessee's trying to protect him right now. I mean, this is the number one crazy enough. This is the number one rushing offense in the SEC at the moment. It's like,
oh wow.
I think they kind of understand that. Like right now, we're having to ease Joe. He's not Hendon Hooker. We've had some accuracy issues. We've had some issues with drops because of how hard he throws the damn ball. I think Florida's going to have to. I think Florida just has to go in with the mindset of, if we're going to load the box and we're going to stop this run and we're going to see if Joe Milton can be elite. And I would try it too. Like, Joe Milton, can you push the ball vertically down the field and be accurate doing that? Because he hasn't really done that through the first 2 weeks of the season. They have been protecting him. And I think that's kind of a sign that Heupel, who has been this offensive mindset of throwing the ball and pushing it vertically down the field and getting it to your receivers in space, him knowing that I don't have that from the quarterback position this year, I think that's what you've seen through the first 2 weeks of the season. So Florida at home, man, get after that run game if you want to keep this thing close. I think it's a low-scoring game, honestly, because I don't believe in Joe at the moment. I don't believe in Florida's offense either.
Wait, what happened? I thought you loved Graham Mertz. I thought Graham Mertz didn't play that bad in the Utah game.
He hasn't played that bad, but doesn't mean he's played great. Just because you haven't played bad doesn't mean like I'm going to fucking put money on you. And Tennessee's defense is pretty feisty this year. Like, you watch them through the first 2 weeks of the season, they've built some depth on that side of the football. They've built a more capable front seven that's going to be able to get after the run game for Florida. So I think this is going to be kind of at times ugly, low scoring, a lot of punting the football.
Yeah, what's the over under on this actually? Because that might be the play. That might be the play. 58.5.
Oh, I'm definitely taking the under.
I'm into that, Aaron. I like that bet. All right. See, look, what is this? A gambler? There you go, bro. Look at us. We're finding value.
Take the under.
All right. I would say this. Billy Napier really needs this one. The potential, I know that you might say like, oh, well, not really. I mean, Tennessee's like a better team. There's no shame in losing. Again, Florida's used to being the big dog of the East. The only team that Florida would accept being better than them is Georgia, because Georgia's also kind of gone tit for tat during that time, right? So you can accept.
I think Tennessee's more of a need to win. I think because I think now the Tennessee fan base expects to be that number 2 team in the East.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think Florida fans are necessarily expecting. Like, would it be great for Billy Napier? Yeah, hell yeah, it'd be huge for him. But I think the bar has been risen so high for Tennessee, where if you lose this game, you're going to see. It's going to get ugly there. All of a sudden, it's going to like completely 180 in the other direction. All that goodwill you built could kind of go out the window, because then all of a sudden fans are going to be saying, "Well, we aren't even close to being competitive to Georgia if we can't even take care of Florida, who is a 6-6 football team at best this year." So I would say more pressure on Tennessee to kind of get the job done.
Okay. It's this perspective I hadn't considered, but I think you're actually right. Huh. You convinced me. Brum, what does this comment mean? Can't get worked by Tennessee, UGA, and FSU 2 years in a row? Oh, you're talking about Florida.
Yeah. Like they're gonna get worked by Georgia, and they're probably gonna get worked by FSU.
Yeah, 100%.
I think you have the built-in excuse that we don't have the guys right now. You can't just actually you can because
a perfectly rational.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Florida, that'll totally work.
I don't know. I think Napier has 3 years to figure it out. I think he's got another year. I'm not thinking. I don't think there's any sort of hit the panic button if you lose to Tennessee this weekend.
Do you know why he actually has another year?
Well, because he's got the payouts too much.
No. Because Coach Prime's got at least one more year at Colorado.
That too.
And then when Shadur and Travis Hunter are gone, Prime to the swamp. I mean, that's me. I would be unhappy. That would be way too powerful of a combination. Whoever gets Prime in the SEC immediately just becomes super cool. I'd feel like such a nerd. And I love BK. I'm a Cult of Kelly believer, right? Like, again, Auburn and Hugh Freeze are a match made in literal heaven. Okay. That is peanut butter and jelly. But whatever. Prime to Florida is dangerous. So dangerous.
Do you think there was a reason why he didn't say that he's a Nole?
And that's the other part in it. He's got a bit of a rivalry brewing with FSU, and they're clearly going to stick with Norvell. And so here you're going to have Prime be like, okay, dude, you want to play? I'm about to teach you. You're going to learn today. God, I would feel like, and again, I love Brian Kelly, but like if you're an LSU fan and Prime went to Florida, and kind of a little bit same with Georgia, except that you're winning more, I guess. You just feel like such a nerd. Feel like I have like a cell phone on my belt clip, drive a minivan. Prime's out here with an iPhone without a case on it, looking cool as hell, just flexing, driving rough times, man. But hopefully that will never happen. But if I'm a Florida fan, every game I lose this season, that's what I'm dreaming of. I'm just telling myself eventually Prime's going to find his way down to Gainesville. Speaking of Coach Prime, it might not be the smartest idea, Aaron. Talking shit to Deion. Matt Rule, kind of did it, right? Like he had some comments about our videos are of us working out and we don't have cameras following us around everywhere in the off season. And then, yes, he did call a huddle on the Buffalo's logo, right? So Matt Rule kind of did it, but Colorado State head coach Jay Norvell, he truly went for it today. Brum, do we have the video? Or do you need me to just...
I sat down with ESPN today, and I don't care if they hear it in Boulder. I told them I took my hat off, and I took my glasses off, and I said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. So...
Why? What's the point of saying that? I just don't get it.
shit.
Why?
Oh no,
It's so
because he's
stupid.
doing a coach's show. It's like the same reason why Brian Kelly said we're going to beat the heck out of FSU. He's trying to.
But you're
play
not saying you're
crowd a
beating the
little
heck out of FSU. You're like you're judging a man for something that you don't need to be judging another man for.
True. Big true. And it's also, it's not like, of course you're going to say we're going to beat that team. I don't want you to say we're going to lose that team, but this is actual disrespect. Like direct. He opened with, I don't care if they hear it in Boulder. Well, Jay, they're going to. It's not whether you care or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this video and I know this is dumb and it's becoming maybe like worn out now, but I immediately bet Colorado. Just saw it, bam, done. I wasn't sure before. I was on the fence. I think Colorado's probably already going to smash this game. Colorado State's not any good. Shooter Sanders is awesome. The rest of the team, everything we already know. But now, once again, like last week, it is personal.
And it's kind of like we talked about with like Georgia and USC. Like, do you call the dogs off because you're going to face Oregon next week? Now all of a sudden, I think there's less of a chance of them calling the dogs off until it's like a 30-40 point game, and then maybe they'll take Travis Hunter out, and then maybe that's it. So I just when you're a 3-score dog, and even more than 23.5 points right now, I think it is, and it's probably going to climb after.
I think yes, I would not be surprised.
Definitely, you don't talk shit when you're a 3-touchdown dog.
Yeah,
it's like just should be known. Why someone sent me like this little meme of, and it's true, like all the players for Colorado State are probably like shaking their head right now. You talk about like being a jackass and players talking shit about their coach. Like this is the prime example when you are in the locker room saying, why would our coach, when a team has Oregon next week and maybe they can look past them and maybe we can kind of sneak up on them and make this an interesting game and have some fun and push them there in Boulder. Well, no, not anymore, coach. Because they're way more athletic than you. And what are we talking about with Colorado? They don't have the line of scrimmage. Well, they have the better line of scrimmage in this game.
Yeah. So their one weakness is erased, right? Like, and again, this was actual disrespect. Like he was infantilizing Deion, like trying to make him sound like a child. Like this is not how adults carry themselves. All right, Norvell. Well, you gonna learn. And you know what sucks is I read an article about how fascinating the Colorado State roster is. And I thought Norvell was really cool. And then this comes out. For instance, on this Colorado State Ram team, you have Ethan Erickson, a center. I think he's a backup. But still, Ethan Erickson was bench pressing 225 at 11 years old, Aaron. In fact, last year, he became the world's strongest man at 265, an Arnold's amateur strongman champion. You have a sumo wrestler, Hidataro Hanada, 6'1", 280, gold medal winner, heavyweight from the 2022 World Sumo Games. How about that? Always wanted to play American football. His first time seeing football live was at the Colorado State spring game. He is now learning English. He's there. He's learning to play offensive line. You have two tribesmen from the South Sudan, Boumjak and Noor Gaktu, both refugees fleeing from civil war. Their kicker's a 31-year-old father of 3. He has a wife and a kid, and he lives in the suburbs. I don't know how he makes money, but he just kicks for Colorado State. It's kind of like his 9 to 5. And then they even have an openly gay defensive lineman, one of the only in the entire country, in Kenny McDowell. So really, between like a bodybuilder, a sumo wrestler, two tribesmen, the father, like you have an eclectic motley crew there that's easy to cheer for. And then Jay Norvell goes and does this, and
Jay, take Colorado, everyone, take him now. Hurry up
before it comes to 24. Put Jordan Noy's mortgage on him, which I still don't know how he's paying for because he's a college punter or college kicker, but still crazy. Good for him though. It's gotta be such a weird thing to be 31 with 3 kids and hanging out with a bunch of college kids. I can't really wrap my head around that. So there it is, your preview of the worst slate that we have maybe ever seen. Bonus question, Aaron, since we talk so much Texas on this show. Does Texas, they're obviously going to beat Wisconsin. So at a 30-point spread on that game, I think 20.5, somewhere around there. Who would you play there? You think Texas is going to come out and make a statement?
Wyoming, you mean?
I said Wisconsin. Excuse me, my bad. Wyoming, yes.
Wyoming 2-0, and Wyoming had the big upset versus Texas Tech to start the season off.
I know.
Do they drop the ball? I don't think so. I think the win last week versus Alabama was the springboard for them to get energized, knowing that they are a legit national championship contender.
Okay.
Like when you elevate to that level, then all of a sudden I think there's that like, oh my God, boys, we actually have a chance to win it all. Like I think in the back of their minds for Texas, they thought they could do it.
That's true.
They thought maybe they were good enough. But then once you do it, I think the energy through that building just skyrocketed. Guys want to work harder. Guys want to watch more film. You want to get in the weight room more. You want to stay after practice. Like you have now seen that we have a chance to do something that hasn't been done in Texas in a long damn time. That buy-in goes through the roof. So I think you're going to see a really good football team going forward.
Again, I think Texas rolls and wins a game big. I mean, it's a good team to be favored by that much against.
Very good team.
I think I'll be on it. All right, there you go. Your snaps preview of the week coming up this weekend. I believe our plans are to do we're going to have our gambling show drop on Friday. We'll give you our absolute best picks. And again, I love this board. I just got to figure out which two I love the most. We will do a Sunday morning recap because of how stuff's working out. We're not going to be able to do a show on Saturday, I don't believe, due to our schedules, but Sunday morning we'll do a recap. And then Monday we'll be live on the YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/@volumesnaps. You can always come hang out, everything you want right there. The shorts, the clips, the segments, the full shows. Huge thank you to Ryan Brumley, Pat Gunther, Adam Gracia, Chris Tran, Danny Cardenas, everybody else who does all the actual legwork to make all of that happen. Huge thank you to you, Aaron. And the biggest of all thank yous to everybody who listens and hangs out with us every single day. Please, the road to 5K. Let's get to 5K over the weekend, okay? We love you. Here's to another weekend of football. Any football is still better than no football. We love you. And we'll see you tomorrow on Snaps.